Hello, my name is Rachel and today I'm going to talk about how I paid off my student debt. I'm going to talk about how much it was, how long it took me to pay it off, and first of all I just want to talk about how I made sure that I didn't have a massive debt to pay off after I'd finished university. While I was at university I actually took on 3 jobs because I worked out that even with the loan that the government gave me, and with other borrowing, I just wasn't going to have enough money to live. I think that's quite normal because it's very expensive. The government loan was around £3,000 a year. I had tuition fees to pay. So yeah, I definitely needed to get some jobs. I'd actually had a job before I even started university, so I was a checkout girl. So I saved as much as I could before I started university so that I started off in a good place. I then had 3 jobs. So the first job was actually promotions, so handing out flyers outside clubs. It was a bit cold, it was a bit miserable, but you know, it was money, so brilliant. The second job that I had was actually telemarketing, so I just advertised, basically called up different individuals and businesses and advertised different services via the phone. So that is something that I'm actually really surprised I did. It wasn't something I would have been completely comfortable with at the time because I really didn't like talking on the phone, but I needed some money and I knew that I had to just make it work. So I did that and did well at that. It was also a really good experience because I ended up going into marketing after I finished university. Not telemarketing, a very different kind of marketing, but still it was good to have that on my CV. Then the third job that I had, I worked in a light bulb factory distribution centre. So that was again an interesting job, but that was a temp job. So I signed up for a temp agency and they gave me jobs that I could do in the university holidays to make a little bit more money. So all of those things combined meant that I could use the loan, use that income, and then I also use an overdraft, which is another bit of debt that I'll talk about later, so that I could have a comfortable time at university. I was by no means going out every single night drinking champagne, buying new outfits all the time, eating amazing food. Like, it still meant that I had to have quite a frugal lifestyle. I ate a lot of 7p noodles, but I had a really good time. I met some amazing people and I wasn't stressed about money, which was really important to me. So the other ways I saved money so that my loan wasn't too big is I lived with 5 other girls in a big house. So that obviously meant that my rent was not as high. I did quite an expensive course, so I did English literature, which you have to read an awful lot of books, and some of them would be anthologies, so they would be like £40 or so, and generally you'd be reading about 3 books a week. Some of them would be much cheaper books and some of them much more expensive, but when you add that on top of course fees, it's a lot of money. So what I would do is, as soon as I got the reading list, I'd try and reserve the book or the books that I had to read in the library and try and read library copies, or if it was poetry, if I could find it online, read it online, print it out, so I could save a little bit of money there. So that was really good. So I just tried to be as frugal as I could be and then also bring in extra income from other jobs. That being said, I did still leave university with debt. So I took out the maximum amount of student loan that you could take at the time. So the loan that I had was called a contingency loan. That meant that I left, when the interest was added, the total amount that I paid back was about £12,000 for that loan. So quite a lot of money. The interest when I left university was just over 3%. I think it's lower now. But that's quite a chunky interest rate. So yeah, so I had to pay all of that back. The way that that was paid back is that they basically take 9% of your salary above a certain threshold. So that threshold at the moment is if you're earning more than £1,615 a month, they would take anything above that and take 9% of that. When I finished university, that threshold was lower. So basically, as soon as I got my first job, that was earning where I was earning enough money, that debt started to be repaid off. If I'd ever had a bulk of money where I could pay off more earlier, I would have done, but that didn't necessarily happen. So what I did is just pay it every month as part of my salary, so I never even saw that money. which made it quite easy actually. So then I then got a letter to say that I was close to overpaying that loan, because basically every March is when they look at the reconciliation for different loans. So if I'd have kept paying the same amount and paying through my employer, then I probably would have overpaid that loan. So I called them up, spoke to them, and we set up a direct debit to finish the last final payments. Then I actually went on maternity leave to have my first daughter. I have two lovely little girls. And I basically decided to use some of my maternity pay as a bulk payment just to get that done, because I didn't want to be sitting on this. It was quite a small amount of debt by then. I think it was about £300, and I just wanted to get it paid off so I didn't have to think about it anymore. So I paid off that final amount, and that was done. So that debt actually took me 11 years to pay off. So that is quite a lot of time, really. It wasn't a quick fix. And then the other debt that I left university with is an overdraft. So with my student bank account that I was given, you were automatically given an overdraft of £3,000. So I basically decided that I was going to use that money to top up all the other money that I was getting, to top up my student loan and to top up the income I was getting from those 3 jobs. I basically figured out that I was there for 3 years, £3,000, I would use £1,000 a year. So that's what I did. So by the time I finished university, I was at the full £3,000 maximum of debt that I could have from my overdraft. Unlike student loans, this was obviously taken, I would have to be in control of this. I was an adult now, I'd got into that debt, I would need to sort it out, and the interest rate was potentially high. So as soon as I got a job where I earned a good amount of money, which was about a year after I graduated, I basically made it my mission to get this paid off. So I'd been living really frugally at university anyway, so I was used to not living off a huge amount. I'd moved to London. London is notoriously expensive. I'd saved up and was living in a flat in Clapham, just a rental. Hadn't saved enough money for a deposit for a flat in London. That wouldn't have happened. But I was living there, so my outgoings were quite high, but it was really, really important to me to pay off this £3,000 debt. So I basically decided that I could put £250 a month towards paying off this debt and have it gone in a year, and that's exactly what I did. So it was gone in a year. I did that in small ways. There was a lot of budgeting, a lot of trying to save money. So where I worked, there was a lot of like lunch included often with meetings. Also, I decided to start running to work. So I used to run across the bridge to my office. So it was probably around, how long would it have taken to run? It was probably like an hour's run probably. So it was, it was quite a far distance, but that again saved me money. I didn't do that every day, but wherever I could save money, I knew that the feeling of not being in this additional debt and the ability to, be basically debt free. I didn't have a mortgage at that time. I was really, really careful with money. I didn't have credit cards at that time either. I always had a nervousness around debt. It made me feel uncomfortable, so I wanted to get that sorted. So yeah, so basically that £3,000 debt was gone in a year, which was incredible. And I wasn't being paid an absolute fortune in London. I was being paid a good amount, but not by any means a lot of money. So yeah, so from then onwards I was able to start saving and investing, and my career grew. So things went really, really well from then on, and I also just didn't have that stress of having the loan. So as I said, my other student loan took a whole 11 years to pay off, which is fine, but I am now completely loan free, got my degree. I also met my husband at university, so I like to think he just cost me £15,000. It cost me £15,000 to meet him. I also met some amazing friends, so yes, it was definitely worth it. Had an amazing time, an amazing experience, but I did have to do it frugally, and I did have to save money, and there was quite a sizable chunk of debt left over. So yes, that is my story on how I paid off my student debt. I hope you found this interesting. If you've got any questions at all about it, then please let me know in the comments below. It'd be really interesting to know how long it took you to pay off your student debt, or if you're just about to go to university, if you're worried about your student debt, how you're feeling about it. I know things are very different now. Tuition fees are much more expensive now than they were when I went. So any comments, any questions, please do let me know in the comments below. And as this is my first video, I'm going to say it would be amazing if you could like and subscribe to this channel for lots more tips and tricks. We'll be talking about budgeting, living a frugal life, minimalism, just basically living your best balanced life. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you've got any suggestions on other videos that you would like to see from me, any specific questions, please do let me know. But otherwise, I hope you are safe and well, and I will pop another video up soon. Bye.